What do you do when you love collecting retro video games, but you don't have a decent store nearby you to check out and to be able to add to your collection? Well, that's where the team from Video Games Monthly has stepped up to provide some really cool services to people out there so that they can go ahead and add to their retro gaming collection and not have to break the bank. Now, to do so, they have a number of different tiers, as you can see here. They have the 3-up, 4-up, 5-up, and the Power Pack, and they range in price from $34.99 through $79.99. And the great thing is, as you can see here, you keep the games. That's totally awesome. And scrolling down here, they offer games from a number of different systems, from the NES, Super NES, the Genesis, N64, Game Boy Color, down here to the GBA, the Game Gear, the PlayStation, Dreamcast, Atari 2600, Super Famicom. There are imports on here too. Famicom, Sega Master System, Nintendo DS, PSP, Wii, Xbox 360, the Intellivision that actually shipped, and you do also have the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. So they do have modern retro systems now that the PS5 and the Xbox series of systems are now out. Now for us, we subscribe to the $35 a month Video Games Monthly plan that gets us 3 games, and the systems that we have selected, well, we've actually made a change for our next month, but we were receiving Famicom and Sega Master System. We did just add the PlayStation onto here, and the reason why is you can go ahead and actually request from Video Games Monthly, hey, I want games of a certain genre or from a certain series, or hey, I don't want games of a certain genre or a certain series. I know some people don't want sports games. I'm looking at you, Tom, over at Do You Nerd. For me, I don't want RPGs or JRPGs. Hate them. Always have, always will. But I have recently reached out, and I thought I did so before this, and the reason why I added the PlayStation, I want to get the Spyro collection for the PlayStation 1, so they've actually let me know they had them loose. I want them in the box. So let's take a look inside of our box and see what we got. So I have to be completely honest with you, our audience. I am doing a voiceover of this footage because I had an issue with my microphone not capturing audio. So my excitement will be a little bit less than when I did this live, but I will try to bring you the same excitement here. Now, the way that I shot this is you get to see what is inside the box before I do. So that way you will actually have a better idea of what's going on before I will, well, before I did. So let's take a closer look at what we have here. So inside the box, I can see we've got a slap bracelet, some Famicom games, but let's take a look at the slap bracelet here now. We have been watching a ton of footage lately from Universal Studios Hollywood, and their version of the Magic Bands kind of looks like a slap bracelet. So this is something, Ellie is absolutely in love with that footage right now. She watches the Yoshi ride all the time. She will be getting this, so very, very cool. Up next, let's feel around and see if we can get any of the cards or anything to come on out. Again, you're getting to see the games before I do. And here we have the cards. First up is we do have our social card where you can win 3 free games if you post to social media. And also make sure that you update your library online with Video Games Monthly. And we did get a 1-up. So what that means, we pay for the 3 games a month box. So inside of this box, we will actually have 4 total games. So up first, we have, feels like a Famicom game. And this is Hello Kitty Sanrio Carnival, and it's worth not a ton, but it's worth about $10. Now, overall condition looks good on the cartridge itself, but this is one of those things where we are going to go ahead and clean the pins on here. Now, up next, let's feel around in here, and there was another cartridge-based game. There it is, and this is Skykid for the Famicom, and I love these Namco cartridges, how they've got the slightly different shape and everything. This is only worth $8, and it is actually available now through the Nintendo Switch Online. This is not a great game. It's just not a good game. And $8, I think it's a little bit overpriced. Now, inside, we did feel that we had a couple cases. I thought it could have been Genesis, but these are clearly Master System. And here we have Maze Hunter 3D, a 3D cartridge, where it is requiring the 3D glasses as well. This is worth $12 loose, $15 CIB. Let's check inside, see if it actually has the manual to see if it is CIB. We have the poster, which is really, really cool. We got a game last month that had this in there. Very similar to what Nintendo did back in the day, but no instruction manual, which is a bit of a bummer. But let's check out the poster here, because these are really, really cool. Gotta love the artwork. I mean, this is totally 80s that we have here. Gotta absolutely love it. And a look at all the games. Very similar, again, to what Nintendo was doing during this same time period. Now, looking at the cartridge itself, cartridge is in really good shape. I mean, there's not much to these labels and stuff, but I mean, it's not peeling. You know, even the back label looks good too. And if you ever want to get into a Master System cartridge, it's just Phillips head screws, which we will dive into this in a little bit. And our last game, we've got 3 out of the 4 out of the way. Let's see what our last one is here. And this is Rescue Mission. Now, the light phaser is required for this, and for something like that, you also need a CRT. I have neither, so for me, this game has no value whatsoever because I don't have a CRT. I don't have the light phaser. I have no way to play this now or into the future, so this will wind up being trade bait. This is complete, though. It does have the instruction manual and that poster, which is really, really cool. And the instruction manual looks like it's in pretty decent shape. Not color, but you know, overall decent shape. I'm glad to see that this is in here. And the cartridge itself, again, looks beautiful. Great shape on that label. The plastic looks in great shape. I'm very pleased with the condition on the 2 Master System games. And Skykid looked okay, but the Hello Kitty looked rough. So let's go ahead, let's open these up, and let's clean them out. So to clean out Famicom games, there's a couple different ways to do that. Now, I use 1-Up cleaning cards. These are just like my go-to cleaners for just about everything on here. They work well. You know, I consider this as much of an endorsement as you can. It has a wet side and a fluid side. Also has a 1-Up cleaning card fluid. It's basically just isopropyl alcohol that's in here. Now, there is a way that you can use a clamp to squeeze the side of these cases open. I have never been able to successfully do that. I know Voltar has shown that a couple of times. I tried it on these. I could not pop these open. So we're going to start off here. Just put a little bit of the fluid on the fluid side. And we're going to go ahead and give the cartridge a nice scrub top and bottom while we are applying some pressure to the pins itself. Initially, it looks like it's not bringing off a whole lot of crud, so that's a good thing. We're going to get the top side now here too. You know, and one of the things with, that might be a little bit worse for wear. A lot of times Famicom games are not the cleanest because, you know, in the 80s in Japan, there was a lot of smoking going on. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to use this solution here. It's called Bright Boy. It's a metal polish, but what's great about it is it's not abrasive, so you're not going to affect the pins as badly as you would with like a Brasso, which you should never use. It also does not leave that funky white residue behind either. Now, to apply this, I'm just going to put some on a Q-tip here. And you don't have to really sauce it up a whole lot. Just put enough that you've got some on the tip. And then from here, we're just going to apply it to the pin's top and bottom. This is just the application. This isn't actually even cleaning anything. But look at that, what we're already pulling off. So for really dirty games, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll put it on several times, clean it off, put it on, clean it off. Now, John Riggs has got a great analogy. It's like resurfacing a disc, and you can only do that so many times. Same thing here. You don't want to do this too many times to a game, but honestly, you don't want this crud and dirt and gunk getting in your system, or in this case, we're going to do a 60 to 72 pin adapter that we don't want this following the works up. Now that we've gone ahead and used the Bright Boy on the pins, we're going to just use the 1-Up cleaning card again, just to make sure we're getting all of the Bright Boy back off. That's the biggest thing. You don't want that to get in and gum up the works on your system or our 60 to 72 pin adapter like we'll use on here. It's one of those, you don't want to make a bad it's one of those things you don't want to make a bad situation worse. Now, sometimes I will also use the 1-Up card mini. What's nice about these, it's the same height on the pad, but it's a narrower overall card, so I'm getting more travel, and it can fit into tighter areas a little bit easier. So Game Boy Advance cartridges, Game Boy Colors work great with the mini, as on N64 cartridges too. Now let's take a look at Hello Kitty Sanrio Carnival, and gotta say, I love the artwork on this. I wish we would have had more artwork like that here in the States. Now let's grab some more. Actually, we're going to grab a different 1-Up cleaning card here. And here you can see just with the thicker head on the older ones, it's kind of harder to get that back and forth motion on a Famicom cartridge. That's a lot of the reasons why I used to use like the minis on here. I'll probably end up grabbing the newer one. Yeah, with the way that's kind of fighting me to get in there, this isn't the best card to use in this application, we'll say. So here we've got the lower profile one, as you can see, much better fit in there, clean off a lot of gunk and getting a lot on there. And, you know, this one is even worse than what Skykid was. So we're going to go ahead and apply our Bright Boy here to our cotton swab. Lay off the cotton, you swab. Name the movie. I think I use that reference quite often, but one of my favorite movies. Ooh, that's no bueno. Look at that. So this is one of those where we are going to apply top and bottom here on the pins, and we are going to let Sanrio Carnival sit aside while we clean Maze Hunter and we clean up Rescue Mission. Yeah, these pins are bad. They are worse than Skykid was. So up first for the Master System is Maze Hunter 3D, and like I mentioned, the cool thing about getting into a Master System cartridge is the fact it is just a Phillips head screw. You don't need security bits or anything along those lines. Now, these screws felt really tight to get into, so that tells me that this system or this cartridge has never been opened before. Kind of neat. Now, if you've never seen the inside of a Master System cartridge, there's not a whole lot to it here. It almost reminds me of like an Atari 2600 cart. Well, let's open this up and show you what we have. Hey, now, this actually looks really, really good. Looking at the pins, they're pretty bright, they're pretty shiny. There's a little bit of wear mark to it and whatnot, but overall, this is looking pretty decent. I mean, you can see for yourself here that, you know, you've got a good bright color to those pins. You know, you've got a little bit of wear marks to it, but these are clean. I'm going to put this back into the case, and we're going to just clean it using the 1UP cleaning card. Now, you know, while I'm taking this out of the cartridge case to show you the pins to clean it, as you saw with the Famicom cartridges, you don't need to take it out of the case. Now, one of the things that I drive home every time you open up a system, a cartridge, anything along those lines, when you put the screws back into the system, unscrew the screw head, you know, a full turn, and you will feel the screw head kind of click and lock into position. That lets you know that you're not cutting new threads and that you're screwing back into the original threads that were on there. Now, I am using a Tamiya model company Japanese Phillips screwdriver here. It sounds weird, but there is a Japanese and an SAE or an American Phillips head screw type. And the difference is basically the depth of the teeth or the bit at the very end and how far they go into the screw head. So now that we have that put back together, we're just going to go ahead, clean it up real quick. We've still got fluid on the pad, so we don't need to go ahead and apply any more. And Maze Hunter 3D, like I say, this is looking terrific. I'm very happy with the overall, you know, condition that this came out of the box. Now let's turn our attention over to Rescue Mission. Now, same type of thing here. We're going to go ahead and remove the two Phillips head screws and get inside. You know, this almost looks like they could have bought both of these cartridges from the same lot. And if that's the case, that's great. Whoever had it before took a beautiful care of these games here. They look great. I'm expecting a very similar result to what we had with Maze Hunter 3D on it. Now, that is another cool thing, too. If you're looking to sell your games and your lots and whatnot, reach out to them. Da-da-da! Again, good-looking pins, good-looking board. You know, the capacitors and everything look great on here. I mean, this is a good overall result. I'm as disappointed as I am in the Famicom games. I'm actually very, very happy with how these Master System games look. These are just fantastic. So we're going to put this back in the case, put the case back together, and then reassemble it the same way we did with our other game. All right, now that this has been sitting for a few minutes while I was cleaning the Master System games, let's go ahead and see what kind of gunk and junk we're able to pull off of Sanrio Carnival. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to use 2 cotton swabs, top and bottom, and when I put them in and place against the PCB, I'm going to give them a slight twist to apply pressure and then scrub the board itself. That just makes sure that we get everything off of those pins that we need to. And my goodness, look how filthy those are. And again, smoking was really prevalent in Japan when these were out, but man, these are no bueno. This is one of those where I actually wound up going through and cleaning these 4 or 5 times with Bright Boy, and then using the 1-Up cleaning card to get that off. Now, one of the things I am a little bit concerned with is I am getting some blue on the cotton swabs, and that's a sign that there's water damage somewhere in here. Now, it's not 100% that it is, but there's a good chance that it is. Now we're going to go ahead, and I will get in here with the 1-Up card in a minute, but I do want to do that same type of thing where top and bottom with the cotton swabs, twist to apply pressure to the pins to kind of clean that extra gunk and junk off. And, I mean, it's still pulling stuff off. I mean, this is a filthy, filthy game. Turn it around just to kind of dry it off. And the good thing is every time that I'm going through this, I'm getting less and less crap off on here. So, I mean, we're definitely doing our due diligence here. Things are getting cleaner. They're getting better. Now we are going to use the 1-Up Cleaning Card Mini, apply the fluid, and put it in. And this is a little bit more abrasive than what the cotton swabs are. I mean, not that it's a sandpaper or anything like that. The other thing is a lint-free surface, so it doesn't leave fibers behind like cotton swabs can. So at this point, we're going to go ahead, dry it off, throw it on our system, test it out, see if it works. Well, how do you think we did in this month's Video Games Monthly Unboxing? From a value standpoint, so Skykid is $8, Hello Kitty, the Sanrio Carnival is $10, Maze Hunter 3D, so loose is $12, CIB is $15. It's loose plus I would classify it, so I'd be like halfway in between, so $13.50. And Rescue Mission is $16 CIB for a total value of $47. So what we paid versus what we got, we definitely got value. But would I play any of these? I mean, maybe. I like puzzle games, so maybe. This is available on the Switch. It's terrible. No. Rescue Mission, I don't have a light zapper, so I can't play this. And I'm not going to buy one because it also would need a CRT. Not going to buy it, so this has no value to me. And Maze Hunter 3D, please someone down in the comments let me know how I can disable the 3D on this, kind of like what you can do on Zaxxon 3D, because as of right now, this is a hot mess. There is, for me, this whole month is trade bait. It just, not games that I would really be interested, I would want to play. I'm hoping adding the PlayStation into next month's, we get a better mix of what I actually enjoy playing. Now, again, these are absolutely worth what I paid for it, but sometimes value is more than just dollars and cents. It's one of those where, if I'm not going to play it, then, a $1,000 game is of no value to me if I'll never play it, although I can turn around and sell it for $1,000. Also really bummed out at the overall condition of the Hello Kitty game. This was disgusting. And I know the guys have been working really, really hard, and getting in there with Bright Boy is what it needed to be able to play. And I'm glad that I have it. I'm glad that I know how to clean it, but it's one of those things for the average consumer. Would this have played? I don't honestly know, and I wasn't going to put this in my system the way that I could see the pins. But these are our Video Games Monthly games for February of 2023. Again, how do you think that I did? And if you want to check out some of the other videos and unboxings we've done with Video Games Monthly, I'll have them linked for you right up there. Follow the arrow. That's what you got to do. Follow that arrow, that arrow, that arrow to check out some of our other Video Games Monthly unboxings. And let me know down in the comments, if you could, which tier would you subscribe for?